Yeah, welcome back, guys. Strikeout Bros. Check it out. This is episode 12, season 2. A lot has gone on. Wow. I don't even know where to start. Nah, I know where to start. I'm just fucking with you guys. We're going to start with the Rafael Devers shit. What's going on, Lash? What's going on?
Oh, this trade sounds very familiar to like the one that the Red Sox did a couple years ago when they traded Mookie Betts to the
Yes.
Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Similar, and you just question yourself why they always develop a star and then they trade him away. I don't understand what they're doing, but maybe they know something I don't know. But
We have a lot to talk
even
about.
with them trading him, they're still alive for the playoffs. So who knows? We'll see.
Listen, this is crazy to me. I don't know. This is the guy that's hitting. This is the guy that's carrying this team on his back. Yeah, there were a lot of words, thrown between him and the management, and because this is what happened, all right. So for some reason, in the off season, Alex Bergman, who was an amazing third baseman, I don't know why he was out there for so long, but I thought he wasn't gonna even get. I thought he wasn't gonna get the job. I thought the Mets were gonna pick him up. To be honest with you, I think. Like towards the end, I was like, damn, that would be a great fit for us at third. You know what I'm saying? And look at us now, struggling at the third base position. You know what I'm saying? So that would have been perfect. But look, he got hurt. But you never know. He got hurt over there. Maybe it wouldn't have happened if he was in New York. I don't know. But anyway, the Red Sox decided after getting all that pitching and having Devers there already, they decided that they wanted to go after Bergman as well. I'm like, these guys want to win.
Hmm.
So they want to win. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Now you read it, it's all over the paper, it's all over everywhere. The paper, you hear me? Like I'm on a train and shit reading the paper. That's the old school me, straight to the sports and then get to my
Yeah.
location and then I'll never read the rest of the paper. But anyway, this fucking guy gets traded. He's the man, right? And the reason why he gets traded is because they told him you're not gonna be playing third anymore. When they signed him for that $313 million a 10-year contract, they said, you're going to be the third baseman for the rest of your time here. He was like, are you okay? When Bergman showed up, he's a better, if you look at the numbers are there. Bergman is way better.
Defensively.
Yeah, exactly, defensively. So we had to remove you, Mr. Devers, from third. You're going to be the DH now. He got upset at that shit. So, they had their words, but he said, all right, I'm going to DH. So he took that really seriously. I mean, he didn't stop hitting. It wasn't like, he was having problems hitting. Throughout all this shit that was going on, he was still hitting. So that's why I think he's amazing. Because he didn't let it get to him. Now, guess what happens? The first baseman, he goes down for the whole year. Casas, right? That's his name.
Casas, yeah.
He goes down for the whole
He's a
year.
good player too.
Right? He's a good player too. So you know what happens now? Here
The
we
number
go
first
again.
baseman.
You gotta play first, Mr. Devers. He said, fuck you. You told me I was going to be the DH. I'm not using my glove this year. And
Yeah.
he continues to rake and continues to hit the ball like a maniac. All right. So
Hmm.
they have to figure that situation out over there. So they're like, wow. So now we're having serious problems with this guy, but this guy's hitting. And then after sweeping the Yankees, they said, you know what? Boom. This guy's a San Francisco Giant now. I mean, listen, the Giants are happy. Listen, any
Yeah.
team that picks this
They
guy
got a
up is gonna
steal.
be exactly for. I'm not. Listen, I don't know. I was gonna say the wrong word. I was gonna say for garbage, but I'm not gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? Right now, if you want to win right now and you have this guy on your team, you're doing something right. And he's hitting like a maniac. Come on, man. I don't know. You tell me
And the
what you're.
Giants were and the Giants were looking for player because the biggest guy they have, the two main guys they have are Chapman and Adamas, but they're not threats at the plate. Rafael Devers is a threat at the plate, even though he's not a big guy, but he can hit the ball hard and he launches them out
Yeah, he does.
and he has a good defense. But San Francisco picked him up more for his bat than his defense because they need a big bat. There's someone to try and get him over. They think he's the last piece that they can get him over. They have good pitching. The pitching staff is good, and everybody on the offense is pitching. Producing the second baseman and shortstop that they got from Korea, Jung Ho Lee. He's been amazing for them, and he's been a rookie. He's been doing well. Chapman's doing okay. He's having a mediocre year, but um, and then Adamas who came over from Milwaukee. He's been all right. He hasn't been
Yeah, I like him though. I like him.
he hasn't been what he was in Milwaukee offensively, but he's good defensively.
Yes, he
So
is.
they got him more for his defensive prowess than anything else. But they're just missing that big power bat. If you look at all the teams that are good, the Mets, the Yankees, um, the Dodgers, and even the Cubs, what they have one big guy, two or three guys that can really hit home runs. Alonso, Judd, Soto, Swanson in Chicago, Carl Armstrong. I'm just listing some guys that are a threat to hit a home run,
Yeah,
and that's what
Schwarber,
you need.
Harper,
Kyle Schwarber in Philadelphia, Harper, as you know, the Mets just faced them, which is a challenge. But when you have
definitely.
multiple guys like that, it forces you to same thing with the Mets. Soto, Alonso, Lindor. You gotta be careful who you're gonna pitch to and who do you want to pitch to, and whoever you decide, you're gonna have to be careful because your chances of making a mistake between those three guys, there's a 60% chance you're gonna make a mistake to one of those three guys, if not all three in a game. But anyway, so back to San Francisco. So they made the trade. I literally the guys they traded, they're second, middle of the pack rotation guys. So that's why they were willing to part ways. And they can either call up other guys in the farm system pitch, or maybe they have a plan to get more pitching in the trade deadline because they're right there. They're right behind the Giants and the Dodge. The Padres have been slumping a little bit.
Yeah, you know what
So they're all
happened?
three of them. It's a three-team race over there.
Yeah, but you know what happened over there? This is what happened. Okay, the Dodgers, right? They were slumping. They were having problems. They have problems pitching. You know that Otani pitched today. I gotta take a look because I haven't even gotten a chance to look,
His
man.
first game, he only pitched two
Yeah,
innings.
two innings. It
Only
was
gave up two
so
runs.
yeah, not so good. But he pitched today again for the second time because they have problems with the pitching. All their pitching went down, just like the Mets. The Mets have the same problem. But the funny thing about the Dodgers is that, right? The San Francisco was right behind them. San Diego was there on top of them as well, right? So guess what? San Diego had to face them, I think, in 7 games, right? So it was like a three, and then after they played that, they played the Giants, and then they played San Diego again. And guess what? The Dodgers won every single series, all right, to show them who's the boss and who belongs on top. It's crazy, all right. The problem with the Mets is that we just had that same setup and we're not doing so good. We get swept by Atlanta. We just lost this series to the Phillies, and now we're coming back home to face Atlanta for 4 more. Right? Atlanta is 10 games back, but let's see what happens. It's pretty crazy. But listen, Devers got, you know, he's in a situation now where he feels like he can win over there. He's happy now. He's like, I'm glad I'm out of there, but he's still on a competitive club and he's on a team that can actually do something and get into the playoffs as well. So that's not a bad situation for him at all.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad situation, but I'm surprised Boston's still doing decently well considering the fact they got rid of him. When they got rid of him, they were on a winning streak. They swept the Yankees last
Yeah,
weekend. It was in Boston. Yeah, they took three swept and they were on a little streak. So
it's crazy.
maybe they trade him at the wrong time. Who knows? Maybe they trade him at the right time. Maybe they're getting hot. They're just staying afloat. It's gonna be hard for them to make the wild card. There's just too many teams ahead of them. The
Yeah,
NL, the AL West is it's kind of like a three-team race, I guess you can say.
yeah.
Two-team
Arizona's there
race.
too. Don't be no. Arizona's
No, I'm
sneaky
talking about the
too.
American League West.
Okay,
American
American
League
League. Oh,
West.
excuse me. I'm
Because
sorry.
American League West, you got Texas, Seattle, and what's the other team? Texas, Seattle, and
The
Houston. Sorry,
Angels.
duh.
Yeah,
No. Then they ain't. They're a tough team. The Angels. They're like the Nationals. They're gonna
yeah, yeah, yeah.
play you tough, but they're not gonna make
Yeah.
the playoffs. But Houston, Texas, but Texas has been a big disappointment, man. Not to get off track because they have a good starting staff. Their offense is just like the Orioles, just non-productive, nowhere to be found. They got good hitters too, you know. They got I forgot the catcher name, Jonah Heim, I think, and they got was it Adolis Garcia, and you know they got all these other guys, and this just I don't know, they're just not producing. It's weird,
Yeah.
but so as far as Boston, they do have a chance, but I don't
Now, I
know.
mean, listen, let me
They're
give
not
you the
going to win division.
stats.
American leagues are running away.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is hot right now.
Tampa Bay's
Yankees
hot
running
right now.
away.
Yo, they're like what? Last I looked, they were 1.5 games out of
They're
first.
1.5 games out of the
Yeah,
Yankees.
yeah,
So
Yankees. Yeah,
that's
1.5.
I'm looking right now at the current standings. Yeah, they're 2.5 out. So that
Two
means
and a
they
half
lost
now.
today. Yeah,
Yeah,
because they lost. But
but that's close. That's
and
close.
Boston, Toronto, wow.
They're all close except
Yeah,
for you guys. You guys are 10 back, but you guys are six
yeah. That's the only
games out of the
team
wild
under
card.
500.
Yeah, but the wild card is still there, man. 6 games. You can fight for that and then work your way back into the division because I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
it's over. You guys
massive.
have had a great June. You've have had.
Yeah,
We're gonna be talking about that in a second. We're gonna be talking about how deep, and I'm proud of you guys. You guys are doing something. You know what? Because it's funny when my team is down. I wear my heart on my sleeve, man. So everybody at work knows that Mets ain't doing well. Pablo's not doing well. You know what I'm saying? Because I wear it on my
yeah.
sleeve.
Craig's like that too.
Yeah, Craig's like that too. That's my
Craig
boy.
is
He's a
quiet as a
diehard
church
Met fan.
mouse.
He gets upset, man. Listen, the Mets ain't doing well. We don't want to talk about it. The
See
chat
me
is
when
down.
I get mad, I just start cursing out my team. I was so mad the other day, man. Going back to ball. Oh my gosh, I'll tell you about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's
But this
crazy.
deal is a good deal
Yeah, it's a good deal.
for San
Listen,
Francisco.
of course, the Giants are getting a man that's batting 267 right now with 16 home runs, 61 RBIs. That's tied for fourth. So you already know Alonso's up there. This is a lot of RBIs for this time of the season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
Like
a third
and
of
the
the
home
season.
runs. And listen, 16 home runs already. So what are we looking at? Almost 40 home runs at by the end of the year. You know?
Yeah, on pace.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like it.
yeah. So
But who knows? That doesn't factor in slumps and cold streaks. They
of
don't
course,
fact.
of
They go
course.
by what's currently present. Currently,
Yeah,
he's like Judge. He's currently batting what 350, 380 average. He's just dipped below 400, but for now he's still batting well. So we don't know.
yeah. Listen, all I can tell you is that I think Baltimore. Listen, when you gotta look at what's happening now in the recently because you can't look at the whole picture and say, all right, yeah, of course they had a bad start, all right, and they had a lot of problems. They didn't sign, some high caliber pitching, so we kind of knew. You said it yourself. You kind of knew what was going to happen. But look now, you gotta look at the picture. Let's look at just June, all right. We're gonna look at a couple of teams in the month of June, and we're gonna see the changes, all right, and what's happening out there. We're gonna look at Baltimore. We're gonna look at Atlanta. We're gonna look at the Mets, and we're gonna talk about what's happening in the month of June for those three teams, and it's pretty deep, all right. So Baltimore, I think they're 12-8, okay,
As of
and
today, yeah.
as of today, okay, which is amazing. Okay, let me tell you something. They swept Seattle. They swept the Angels coming into the month because they had to play the White Sox on the 1st of June. Going into the month, they swept those guys too, right? So they double swept two teams back to back. Seattle's a tough out. The Chicago was supposed to happen, all right? You were supposed to dominate, right? The Angels, like you said, they're not gonna make the playoffs. So you did your job there, right? And then you played Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 4 game series. You guys split that. Tampa Bay is on fire right now. For you to be able to do that, that's amazing. All right.
Yeah.
But now
And
this is the problem. I'm sorry, but this is the problem. This is where I have a serious problem. You play the A's, Sacramento, Las Vegas, whatever the A's. You know what I'm saying? And you let them beat you in a series. That wasn't supposed to happen. That kind of like
no,
killed the momentum. All right. And then, man,
Detroit is Detroit.
Of
They're
course,
just
Detroit,
dominant.
Detroit is Detroit. You know what I'm saying? But you still snuck one in. You know what I'm saying? You snuck one in there. All right, you snuck one in there. But the problem to me that really bothered me was today, the
I know.
11:35 game. The 11:35 game today really pissed me off because I was rooting for you guys. I was like, yo, you can take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, then you're gonna have a really, really good month. 13-7. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, so they if out of the 6 games remaining in the month of June, if they win 2 out of the 6, they'll finish with a winning record. Uh, they'll finish with a winning record. Um, so they
For
got
June,
Texas
yeah,
and Tampa Bay. Those are tough teams. Texas has been struggling. I think we could beat them. Tampa Bay, they're a division rival, so you know you're gonna play them tough. They're gonna play you tough, so it could go
yeah,
either way. But the one what's kind of changed for Baltimore lately has been their starting rotation. The bullpen has been really well. The ER has gone down. They're getting good starts out of starters. Dean Kramer who pitched today, man.
yeah. So
He
I
was
want to
struggling in
know.
the big year, but he had the last 3 games. He leaves the game with the lead, and then they can't close it or they blow it, and it's just like fuck.
Yeah, so what the fuck happened today? Like in the bottom of the
Bottom
eighth,
of the
the
eighth, they
Yank
just fucking
three.
gave up 3 runs, and it just one, just bad plays defensively. More, out in the outfield. Bad throws, not hitting the guy. He threw the ball to I don't know who the hell he threw it to. He should have thrown it to second base, but he didn't. So allowed the guy to get to second. And then there was a play where the 2 runs that scored when it became 4-2 or 3-2. I thought the guy was out, but stupid Sanchez dropped the ball, and even if Sanchez had caught the ball and tagged him, he would have gotten in trouble for blocking the plate. But it didn't matter. He didn't catch the ball, and Chisholm scored, so that was good for the Yankees at least. But yeah, just today's game was based on defensive blunders. It's just like, and then the other problem is in the top of the eighth, it was tied 2-2. Man on first and second, no out, and nothing happened. It's like you got to score when given the chance, but they just couldn't do it. So the offense
That's
is still, in my
crazy.
opinion, not out of the woods. The games they've won so far, why they're 12-7, is because they're playing well defensively, pitching wise. They've been playing well defensively. They've been playing pretty well too. Mullins just came back into the into the outfield, so that helps. But so they've been pitching is what's really helped them great. Felix Bautista's doing well. He's been closing games out, so he hasn't been a problem. So that's good. And then the middle relief has been their biggest weakness. Anthony Dominguez, Soto, all these guys who struggle. Like Baker was doing well until today, and then Baker's weird, man. He'll go like 3 or 4 games, lights out, and he'll come into a game like Yankees game and just fucking you know give just mess up the game. So he's inconsistent, but the thing is, the offense still has not gotten hot yet. We haven't seen the numbers from Rutschman. Now he's gonna be out. We haven't seen Henderson do anything. Holiday's been doing okay. He's just he's a line drive hitter. Mountcastle's out. Ramon Urias isn't doing crap. Tyler O'Neill should be coming back. So the only guy that's been producing is what's his name, Ryan
What's that?
O'Hearn, and he's gonna be their all star. I think the only all star for the Orioles. So he's been great, but it's the same thing with the Mets. You can't just rely on Alonso to carry you all the way. You need other help, and Baltimore's relying on Hearns, and it's not working. So the
Yeah,
other guys get hot, great. If they don't, but we'll see. But I have hope because I always say once you're 10 games under 500, it's gonna be hard to climb up, man. It just really is. So for them to make it to the playoffs by All Star game, they need to be at least 4 or 5 games under 500 to consider maybe trading. But they're getting their pitchers back. They can get Rodriguez back in the July, August. They can get Cal Bradish and Tyler Wells back. So maybe those guys, who I don't know what those guys are going to be. You're only going by what happened last year.
yeah. I
It's like
understand
it's
that.
like Mania in the Mets. You got you're gonna he did great last year, but we don't know what he's gonna be like this year, coming off of an injury.
Yeah, I can't wait to
So
see him.
yeah, and that's what I want to see because if those guys come back and they do well, I do see I do believe that one does feed off the other. It's more noticeable in
I
football
agree.
than baseball. But if you see that like today's game, man, those guys must be chapped, man, because Kramer gave it all, man. He was killing the Yankees. To give up 1 run in 7 innings, and they needed that because
Yeah,
their
that's
bullpen is
amazing.
worn out, and then they just. And the Yankees are a good lineup, man. I don't care who any. I think they're a better lineup than last year
Of
because
course they are.
they got
They got
Bellinger.
threats.
Bellinger's
Yes.
starting to get hot now. Judge. Now we kind of contained Judge for the most part, so that was good. Yeah, we walked some, but he struck out a couple times. We did go after him. It's not like we just walked him the whole time. Chisholm had a great series. I think he's the one that carried the Yankees in this series for the Yankees. But he had a, but in the Friday's game, they won in a lucky home run that would not happen in most stadiums. Five
Hmm.
to three. It just.
It's
But I don't know.
okay.
I'm worried that we woke up a sleeping giant. I think the Yankees are back to their. I'm not gonna panic like the Yankee fans are.
No,
Uh,
no, no. Sometimes you have to, I don't know.
it's
Like
hard.
his division, I mean, everybody's getting close. Tampa Bay's a threat, bro. They're a threat.
Oh, Tampa Bay is going nowhere.
Nah, nah. You say that, but nah.
I mean, in the sense of like they're not gonna just walk away and just not be a bother. They're gonna be up your butt the whole
Pesky,
time.
of course.
Yeah, that's what I
Uh,
mean by not going
okay,
nowhere.
got you, got you. All
Like
right, now we we agree.
they're gonna be on your back. Like
Yeah,
you got to watch out for them.
we
They're
agree
the
on that.
threat to the Yankees
Yes, sir. I agree. Always
and
have been.
Boston too, because yeah,
Yeah.
they lost one player, but they have a see what's the disappointing thing about Boston. They have a really good rotation.
Yes, they
It
do.
just and you were the one that predicted, oh, Boston should be good because they have a good rotation. I was like, oh, you're right, but the offense has been lackluster, man. Durant has been okay. Now they don't have Devers. Rafaela, Cedeno Rafaela, he's the outfielder, I think. He's all right, but he's a young guy. Duran, so they need other guys to produce. So who knows how long the starting pitching can carry you? But it's the Yankees' division to take. I think they're gonna win it in a landslide. It just
Mm.
sucks. Toronto's not a threat. Tampa Bay, they'll make the wild card probably, but and then Baltimore, they're so far out. They're so far behind that it's like it's gonna be uphill battle for them. So at this point, I'm just hoping they just make it. They finish the season at 500. But I could be wrong. Who knows? If they get all these pitchers back and they start playing well, that's the nice thing about baseball. There's 2 seasons. But it's hard because you and I live by the moment because we don't know what the next half of the season is gonna be.
Yeah.
You're like, oh wow, my team is doing great. See, the thing in baseball, Buck Showalter was saying this. He goes, when you go into your struggles, you want to shorten that struggle as much as you can, and when you're going through great times, you want to stretch it out as long as you can. And I was like, wow, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Or minimize
I
the
agree.
damage in that
It's
time
true.
that you're losing or winning. But I don't know what the problem was in Baltimore. Firing the manager didn't do much because it's not like yeah they got a little better, but Buck Showalter, I mean Hyde wasn't the problem. Like I said, managers to me have no effect on the game, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, listen, I don't know. That depends on the type of owner and the type of GM. Like what type of system you have going on. Because back in the day, the manager, really put the lineup together and actually made the decisions when it came to running and moving players around and stuff like that. Like, where's the lineup coming from? Is it coming from upstairs and Mendoza's just handing it in, or is he?
Probably
I mean,
does he
probably.
have input? That's the
Yeah,
question.
exactly.
He
Does he
probably
have input?
doesn't
Oh, he probably
because
doesn't. He probably doesn't.
because listen, here's the reason why. Because the way these managers, the way these owners hire people nowadays, these managers, they say, listen, we believe in analytics. They've sold their soul to the analytics. In order for us to hire you, have to fully be invested and believe in this. You cannot have any pushback. Are you willing to have pushback? Yes or no? Oh, you are gonna have pushback? Okay, we're not gonna hire you. And that's
Yeah,
why
it's true.
like that's why they take Buck Showalter out of New York
Out
because
exactly because
he's old school. He's gonna push back. Now he got away with. They let him try to say, so we'll give it a shot, see if he can win. He had a great first year with them, and then after that, injuries cost him, and then that was it. But he's the rare exception. And in my opinion, Byron Snooker might be out in Atlanta if he
no,
doesn't
no,
get to the
no.
playoffs
We already know what's gonna happen to Brian Snicker. They already told him
because
that he's not gonna be the manager next year. He's gonna get an office job there,
yeah, he'll
and
be
but
like
they're
an
not gonna
assistant GM.
yeah but they're not gonna disrespect him. Because he's
He's been with the organization since he was in the minors.
50 years, man, 50 years.
But either way, So going back to baseball, just like with the Mets, they had a great first month, first 3 months, 3.5 months. They've been on fire, and then they hit a
Man,
rut. But see, what the good thing with the Mets is that this is why it's important to have a big lead, a big cushion, because if you do hit a rut, like in reality, the Mets really haven't lost much. And yeah, they lost game, but they haven't lost a lot of ground. Yeah, they end up losing the division, the division lead,
yeah,
but they're not far out. Like they're only what 1.5 out, so it's doable. They just get back on a new streak. Philadelphia loses a couple games, you're back in first place. So
yeah.
it's okay. It sounds panicky because we live in a moment. We're like, when's this gonna end? Especially when you have a 7 game losing streak, and Baltimore had the same issue, and it's like, when are you gonna win? And you don't, when you're going through a streak, you're like, there's no way they're gonna put off 8 games, and look what happened to Baltimore. They won
I
six in a
know,
row.
I know, it's
Who
crazy.
knows? The Mets could go on an 8 game winning streak. They do have an easier schedule after Atlanta. It gets a little lighter. But the
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
is
man.
I was saying in the group message earlier, reason why it bothers me about losing the Yankees, yeah, we're so far behind. But if you want to get to 500, you got beat your
Be the
division teams.
teams, yeah.
You might not win division, but if you beat them, it's gonna help you get closer to the
Ground,
wild
gain
card,
ground, yeah,
gain ground. And same thing
gain
with the
ground.
Mets. Like, I'm sorry, but Philadelphia's they're not world beaters in my opinion. Yeah, they're a good team. They got good offense, but their bullpen has just always been ass. They've never had a good bullpen. They've never had a good bullpen. It's just they're mediocre at best. But because their pitching is good, and well, their starting pitching is all right, but their lineup has been carried them so far.
Yeah, I
So
like that team. Listen, I like them a lot, but obviously I don't want them to win. But I like that team. They're tough, bro. They're tough. They're a scary team, especially when
yeah, no,
Harper's
they're
in the
not someone to
lineup.
mess with.
Nah, they're not. They're not. You can't fuck with those.
But it's weird because they lost what Castellanos for the year. I think right. Is he the one that's out? Castellanos.
Is
Somebody
he?
that I think he's out, right? Nick Castellanos. No, not Castellanos. I think
Well,
he's out
they
for the. Somebody's on Philadelphia has been out for a while. Let me look.
Tur- Trey Turner's there. Bryce
No,
Harper's
Turner's
out
there.
right now.
I know.
Bryce
Where's
Harper's out
Harper?
right now. Schwarber played today. He got a home run today. Remuto played, right? Yeah, I think so.
I'm looking right now.
But yeah, man. While you look, I'm gonna start talking about what I don't want to talk about. And I don't understand how it happened. I don't know what's going on, but I guess the Mets are trying to like they're almost seeing it the way I do, and it's kind of like moving in my favor because I'm like, all right, now they're starting to see that this is not working, so we have to fix this problem. We have to get rid of this person right
What's
now.
not working?
Like a lot of things that the Mets are doing right now aren't working for me, and I'm gonna explain to you why. All right, but listen, I don't understand how you start off June, you play the Dodgers, you do well, right? You
Took three
play,
out of two out of
yeah,
three.
you take 7 games from Colorado, you take three straight from Washington. You're destroying teams left and right, like destroying teams, right? So we double sweep, right? We double sweep, and then Tampa Bay, and I'm like,
Oh, that's
nah,
right. You finished the homestand with him. I forgot about
yeah,
Tampa
we
Bay.
we play Tampa Bay, bro. Tampa Bay in New York, they swept us, bro. I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't believe it. The pitching hit a wall. I don't know what happened. Listen, then we played Atlanta right after that. Atlanta swept us too, 6 in a row right there. Then the first game against the Phillies, because it got tough because we're like, all right, now we're gonna play the division. Now we have to play for keeps, so we could drown them. That's not what happened,
Mm-hmm.
bro. That's not what happened. They drowned us. And look, we just lost today. We lost a series after playing a great game yesterday and getting 7 home runs. Soto had 2 home runs. Nemo had two. Lindor had one. Lindor had another one today, but that wasn't enough. We lost the series. So we're back to the same shit. And now we have to play Atlanta at home for 4 games. For some reason, we can't beat Atlanta at their place. At Truist Park, we cannot beat those guys over there. For some reason, the Mets are scared to play in Atlanta. I don't know what it is, but it's okay. We're not looking.
Yeah.
No
That
looking good right
game,
now.
that first game versus Atlanta, I was at I was meeting up with my friend Nick. We were watching Game Six of Stanley Cup, and they had the game on at the bar we went to, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna freaking lose. I was like, oh, Mets gonna win this game. There's 4-1 going to the ninth. What was it, ninth inning, eighth inning? And they just freaking fell. I was like, what the hell is going on? And they just fell apart. And then everyone's screaming, hollering. I was like, and then because I was watching the hockey game, all of a sudden I looked, I was like, what the hell? Because they had most of the hockey game on in that bar, um, and all of a sudden I hear everyone screaming. I look over to the screen, the next TV, and I was like, oh shit, they tied the game. And they're just like a bunch of like holy smokes. But that game they lost due to defensive playing, fielding errors in my opinion more than the bullpen. But that was a lucky win. That was a game they should have lost. Atlanta should have lost. Mets, because it does help having momentum, because as the Mets, you struggle. The Mets know they struggle, and if you have taken that game, it would have changed the whole momentum of that series, in my
Of
opinion.
course, of course.
And
But
then they end up having to play Chris Sale in the last game of the series, and he smoked him. But then he got hurt, so now that's fucking wash. But either way, but yeah, it just took that first game. It literally took the sales out of the Mets' momentum, and they just after that they just struggled, left Atlanta struggling, and then it's weird, man. I don't know why it's so weird. They're like see, the Mets remind me of the Orioles. Orioles, they always struggle against the Yankees. They cannot beat the Yankees to save their lives. I don't know what it is. They get intimidated. They just
yeah,
they just get scared, and they don't play to their capability, and they just let the Yankees slap them around and score 1,000 runs. And then as a fan, it drives me crazy because to me, the Yankees are the elite of the division, just like in the National League, the Braves in the past have been the elite of the
yeah.
division.
Mm-hmm. They were.
As of now, but right now it's the Mets, but because they're in first place. But so that's why I was like, oh, they're gonna win. They should be able to at least take 2 out of 3 from Atlanta,
Yeah,
no
easily,
problem.
easily.
And then it's weird because it's like the Mets like fucking they like the jump pack. They just like restarted the Braves offense and they got together. But then Atlanta went to South Beach and got too drunk, I guess, and fucking lost 2 out of 3. So who knows? I don't know. So
I don't
who
know what's
knows?
happening right now. It's like everything
Baseball's
is,
such a weird
yeah,
sport, man.
especially this year. This is so weird to me, man. Listen, the Phillies, but the Phillies are 11-9 for the month of June.
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy, right? Now
And they're still in
this is,
first place. Well, now they
but
are.
now they are right. So now look, listen, they got swept by Pittsburgh, bro, right?
Uh,
And then they lost a series to Toronto, right, at the beginning of the month. But then they got
yes,
revenge, bro,
in
and they
Toronto.
and they got revenge, yeah. And they took the second series, you know what I'm saying? By sweeping them, they swept Toronto the second time around, right? So they started off the season 13-13, 5 games behind the Mets, right? Then they went 23-6 in the next 29 games, which is ridiculous. This is how they started catching up. And then they were waiting for us to make a mistake because they were hot. That was hot. 23-6 is amazing. And then in the last 22, they're 11-12. You know what I'm saying? So that's not that bad. They're definitely gonna be a problem for the Mets, and the Mets better be careful. You better be careful before they end up looking at the wild card like, this is what we gotta get. Like get out of here with that. That division is yours, yo. Do not lose it. You know?
Yeah, you don't see, and what we learned from this past playoffs, being a wild card team is not a good thing. Every wild card team, at least from last year, I think all fell out in the first round. So being a wild card team is not an advantage anymore. It was
No,
an
that's
advantage
not
in the past.
true. No, no, not true. Like, listen,
Well,
you can get on and go the way it's happened. We've seen it
well,
happen.
Mets were the wild card team, right, last year, or they won? No, you guys were the
Yep,
wild card team. Yeah,
yep, we
so Mets
were.
were the only team that wild card team that made it as far as they did. Everyone else they lost. Baltimore, Atlanta, and so on and so on. But winning your division is key because then you get that bye week, if that's what you want to call in baseball. Bye week to rest you guys. Um,
Yeah,
so
I mean, wrestling. Listen, I don't know. If I had
I
to
don't. It's,
pick, I would say, nah, stop. Let's play. Let's play. You know why? Because I wanna. keep the engine moving. I don't want to, stop, and I don't want to
Yeah.
smell the roses. I want to fight. You know. But look, the Mets have a lot of problems right now. Listen, like the pitching when Senga's out, right?
When's he come
Canning,
back, by the way?
man, I have no idea, man. I don't
Didn't he
know.
just come back recently?
Yeah, remember he got hurt and he
He came
pitched
back
in
in
the
the beginning of the
playoffs.
season.
He
Yeah.
was there. He was there, and then this is this leg problem again. I don't know. But we'll see what happens with that. And then McGill, he's gone. Elbow or some bullshit. Listen, he's had like four straight horrible starts. Like they were horrible, and I saw it coming.
Yeah, Miguel surprised me, man, because he came out guns blazing in April or March and April, and I was like, oh wow,
Yeah,
he could be a temporary ace until they get
no, he
Manaya
was
and
really
Montas
acing.
back.
No, he was really playing like a real ace, and it's crazy because I told you, man. I was like, that's my favorite right now in the rotation. McGill was
I
doing
liked
it, man.
Canning.
Yeah,
That was my
Canning was
guy.
dope too.
He
Yeah,
was doing great too.
Yeah, and then he hit a wall. I was watching him pitch yesterday. I think yesterday, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"What's
he
wrong
struggled.
with you, bro?" He was struggling, and he was
Yeah,
smiling like he was
with him,
hard.
he's lost control of the ball. It's not necessarily the speed. He's just throwing the ball all over the place. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
He was
it's
burning
so
himself
weird.
out or
Yeah,
trying too hard, or I don't know,
I
or
don't
it
know.
could be a thing that he doesn't trust his stuff, and it's all psychological. And then you see the hitters are getting onto your pitches, like so. It's like fuck, what do you do?
Yeah,
But I think him and McGill have been the two biggest.
yeah.
Just this month, it's been a downhill spiral. But you know,
Nah, Holmes too, man. No, listen, the only person that's
Holmes,
been
yeah,
consistent is Peterson, but not today. Peterson gave up 5 runs in like 4 innings. So
Clay Holmes has been pretty good. He had one rough outing recently,
yeah, well,
but him and Peterson's been
Peterson's
great,
been great. Yeah, man, I love
and the
Peterson.
bullpen hasn't been too bad. It just what's the eighth inning guy Brazabon, the
Yeah,
third guy.
yeah, right now
He's
I don't
struggling.
know. Yeah, he's struggling,
He
bro.
came in the other game against Atlanta. That he's the one he literally handed us the game in that game on two whatever day it was Tuesday it was. They were up 4-1. He came in. He just gave up 3 runs, and that was the end of the game. I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he's been pretty good. But the Mets had no choice because it was just like you didn't think they were gonna need. It was not a situation to bring in Diaz, because you're up 4-1. So I was like,
Yeah,
let's give the guy a rest and hope that we can use him. But yeah, but the disappointing thing for the Mets is Soto's starting to get warm. He had 2 home runs. I know you said that yesterday, so that's good.
yesterday.
So
But
hopefully that's a good sign. But Alonso has cooled off. McNeil has been hot garbage.
no, you know what's
Uh,
crazy about McNeil? McNeil had a little stretch where he was okay, where he was doing everything right. But yesterday, oh my God, yesterday he really pissed me off yesterday. So, like I could see the frustration on his face. He does that huff and puff business. His
yeah,
eyes
he
are
wears his
super
feelings on his sleeve.
his face, yeah. His eyes are wide open and he's struggling. You can see he's talking to himself. And the problem is you're 0 for 4, brother. And
He can't be doing that.
that play back there, did you see that play with Nemo back there? You didn't see that play.
No, Nemo. No,
Oh,
but
let me
Nemo.
tell
I
you,
was gonna say Nemo has been the most consistent besides
I love
Alonso.
Nego. I love him.
He's the
Listen,
only consistent player. He comes out every day with lunch
yep,
and hat in the hat, and he's coming to
yep.
work every day.
Every
He
day,
don't take
hard.
days off. That's what I like about
I
him.
love Nemo.
You
Nemo's a
need players like him. Alonso's like
foundation.
that too, but
Yeah, he is.
Alonso's
But
more aggressive at the plate than Nemo is.
yeah, Alonso a doofy dude, you know what I'm saying? But Nemo's a smart man, you know what I'm saying? It's a difference. It's like Alonso's a big kid that comes to the park, he wants to hit the home run. But Nemo comes to work, he punches in and he gives you his all. You know what I'm saying? He's
Yeah,
like the Brett Gardner of the Yankees, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, he's a
Yeah,
scrapper.
exactly. So now check this out, man. So here comes the play, right? So they're crisscrossing, obviously, right? And all I see on the video is McNeil screaming. I can tell he's screaming, I got it, I got it, I
Oh
got it, I
no,
got it. And guess what?
who
I'm
got
looking
in
at
his
the
way?
play. It's no. It's that they're both running forward, right? So since he's calling, I got it. Nemo smart. Nemo says you got it, no problem. He
He
drops
backs
his
off.
glove. He drops his glove, so the ball is aiming right at McNeil's glove, and it touches his glove, and he bobbles it, and he
Oh
loses it.
no.
And
It bounced out of his glove.
Trey Turner comes gets a double off of that, right?
Oh, jeez.
And then the next hit or whatever the fuck happened there, they end up scoring. Right now the game is 5-4. I'm like, we're gonna lose this game because of McNeil. He's 0 for 4, and on top of that, he makes this error. Guess what? They didn't take him out, bro. They didn't take him out.
Well,
Not
yeah,
then.
which is surprising. But who are you
No,
gonna put in there?
I mean, we have so many options. Listen, I've been fighting. Yo, listen, for some reason, listen, today in the chat, because, we always chat about,
Yeah.
it's like four of us. It's four of us. We're really, deep into this shit. So we get into it. And then anyway, today around 12:37, I believe, because I checked it. I said, what I want to see is Acuna on second, Mauricio on third. When Viento gets back, we'll figure that out. And I want to see,
Be off the
McNeil on the
bench.
bench. You know what I'm saying? McNeil on the bench. I want to see Beatty on the bench, right? And if anything, you know what? We could get rid of Beatty, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we need to get a better utility player that can. I don't know what we need, to be honest. We need a DH, I think. I don't know. Like, I'm having a problem trying to figure it out, but this is what I asked for. Look, we still lost today. But the point is that I feel like if you put Acuna on second base and you keep him there, then it
Well,
works
when
out
Vientos
because
comes back, you will have a DH
yeah, I guess.
because you can either actually what you could do. Here's what I would do if I'm the Mets. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
You
you're not
put Vientos.
interrupting.
You,
Well,
you put Vientos at third. You could put him at third, and then you could put Mauricio or at McNeil's position and have just McNeil be your DH. Or you could
hmm.
switch them around and give the day off. Okay, McNeil, you play the field. Mauricio, you'll be DH today. Or you could have, Acuna be a DH if you had to. But they like him at second, so they're not going to do that.
Okay, now check this shit out. This is what I'm thinking now. Okay, I'm just brainstorming. This is why when you said
That's why.
sorry
That's
to
the good thing
interrupt,
about
no,
it.
it's not.
We like to
You were
brainstorm, work it out,
exactly,
work out the
exactly,
problems.
exactly. So it wasn't you wasn't stepping on me. That was we're brainstorming. So this is what I think. I think that Mauricio is young enough to be able to make him a center fielder. He's lanky. He's long. He's fast. He'd be a great center fielder. It's all about getting him there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's an opportunity that they're missing out on. I don't know. But McNeil definitely has to either sit on the bench or he needs to get paid for his services and shown the door because I'm done with him. He doesn't really you know what, off the bench maybe because of the fact that he can play the infield and plug that hole if something happens, and he can also plug the hole in center and left. So
See, that's probably why they don't want to give him because he can be utilized in many different. He can be utilized in different parts of the field. Where if he
yes,
just only could play second, then I think they would have let him go, because he
probably
can be utilized. Hey, he can give people breaks. He can give Tyrone Taylor
yes,
a day off if he had to. He can give Albies a day, or not Albies, Acuna a day off if he need to, or wherever it is.
yeah,
So he can play around the field if he had to.
he had to.
Has he ever played first?
I'm not sure about that. Has he ever played first? I'm not sure about that, but I don't think that's not on his resume. His resume, he's a true left fielder and a second baseman. So that's what's on his resume.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is why he's
He's
second
like a
baseman. So
utility man.
exactly. So if we were able to reverse it, right, and make Mauricio a center fielder, then we're plugged up. We're chilling for the rest, for the next 10 years. Because the problem is that you're not giving these guys, you know, stability. Like you're not letting them
There's no
rock out.
consistency.
No, not at all. There's none whatsoever. And that's the problem, right? You gotta keep Acuna on second base, leave him there, all right? He's fast, he's a threat. You know what I'm saying? Let him hit the ball and keep him on second so this way he doesn't get confused, man. It sucks. Nah, for real, man. When you got him playing second one day, then third the next day, he's all fucked up in the head. He doesn't know what.
Because I think he's truly a second baseman more than a
Yeah,
third baseman,
I agree.
and it
Listen,
messes people mentally.
of course it does.
And that's
This
the
is
problem with Devers.
Devers exactly the same exact thing. So man, I don't know. I don't know. The lineup is crazy. It's hard to work with, especially with the way they're playing around with it. It seems like there's a platoon at second, there's a platoon at third base, and there's a platoon at center field. and it shouldn't be like that. That's too many platoons. That's not gonna give
Well,
anybody time to grow.
yeah, and then now the new platoon issue you have now is the catcher,
Oh
but he's
man,
not really an issue because Torrens
it's
has
not.
been fine, so you don't have to find somebody.
Nope, you don't have
Torrens
to
is going to
find
be everyday
anything.
catcher,
Hell
which
yeah,
is good. I like Torrens. He's a good
love him.
defensive catcher.
My dad loves him.
My problem, Alvarez, he doesn't have a home run bat, but he's too aggressive. He doesn't know how to be patient. He swings like a wild man, and that's why he got sent down to Syracuse today.
I mean, I'm glad that happened because he needs that. And we were losing. Listen, defensively losing. Runs, and I don't know.
Yeah, I've noticed lately, like he'll have like a lot of like pass balls go behind him. I was like, dude, you should have made that play. Come on, man. Like,
Yeah, that's what
is
I'm
the way
saying.
position is the reason why you can't get the ball? Like, how do you like? Jeez, man, a
Yeah,
3-year-old could have made that play. But you just and that that's what happened a couple times in the Atlanta game. Balls got by, the runners advanced, and before you know it, boom. That's what happened in that Tuesday game. Balls got by him. There was another game I remember in L.A. Where Beatty threw it to him or whatever, and he got mixed up with the pitcher and who's gonna cover the plate, and he bobbled the ball and dropped it, and it's just like, geez, there's no
yeah, he's a hot
communication.
mess. Yeah, hot mess right now. He's starting to remind me of Travis Darnell. Dude. I don't
Oh,
want that.
geez.
Yeah, that's what he reminds me of right now. He's having a really hard time out there, and I'm glad he got sent down. It's about time. And you know what's funny? The motherfucker hits a home run last night in the ninth inning. Not that run mattered. You know what I'm saying? Because they were all solo shots. 7 home runs, all solo shots.
Wow. I
I
didn't.
know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, we're back, we're back. And then, Nemo gets two. You know what I'm saying? Soto gets two. I'm like, what's going on? And then Dor hits one. You know what I'm saying? Young Alvarez. This is off the top of my head. I can't remember. But I was watching that game. I was loving it. Okay, so the problem with Frankie Montas, right? So you say, oh yeah, Montas is coming back, man. Listen, I don't know where he's at right now, but let him stay over there. All right, check this guy.
He's
This
probably in
guy.
Syracuse.
No, yeah, he is in Syracuse. I'm just fucking with you. He's in
I see what
Syracuse.
you mean.
Okay, you
Keep
know what
him
I'm
there and
saying?
let him build up
Exactly. Nah,
his
no, but check this out, bro.
confidence.
He gave up 8 runs in 1 and 2/3.
Oh,
Okay,
jeez.
exactly. His
He should
ERA
be
is 13.
dominating.
Exactly, 13.17 and 5 rehab outings, bro. Mendoza is like, yo, I don't know, man. Listen, one more rehab and they're gonna make a decision. So this guy had a lat injury. He never played for us yet. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't played for us yet, not this year. $34 million over the offseason. That's how much they gave him. $34 million, and he hasn't proven that he can even pitch in the majors, bro. Yeah, he can't pitch in the minors, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's
That might be
just
a,
trusting
yeah,
that his arm is okay, or he's mentally he still hasn't recovered from the injury. Who
yeah. I
knows
don't
what
know.
it is? You say
Yeah,
it was a lat injury,
yeah, lat.
so that's what your legs. Yeah, so you should be fine.
Nah, yeah, lat. Like, that's upper body.
Oh, upper body. Okay, but it's not the key. It's not the main component to the arm. I mean, it's not like his Tommy John or elbow, but
Nah,
still,
yeah, but still, we gotta figure
I
this
don't know
out.
what it is. Maybe I don't watch minor league games. Maybe he just doesn't have control. My guess is control because he's never been a flamethrower. Like you could tell some pitchers are flamethrowers and some guys are just control ability.
Yeah,
He seems more like a control ability. So his issue is control.
yeah,
And so I don't know if these guys can see the problem with the see because the problem you would like to have if you're the Mets is that these Manaya and Montas are killing it down there. That way, when there's time to come up, you can be like, okay, Canning, you're gonna take a break now. You're gonna go middle relief.
yeah.
We'll replace you.
No, but we can't do that now.
Peterson,
We can't do
not
that now,
replace
though.
you. Just put him in the bullpen.
I know, no,
Put
but
him in
we
a
can't
different
do that now.
situation.
We can't do that
No,
now
now you
because we
can.
have too many injuries. No, so
That's what I
Blackburn,
mean.
Blackburn is gonna come into the rotation now. Manaya
Yeah,
is
he's
gonna have to
pitching
come in.
against Atlanta.
Yeah, he's gonna have to. So now we have Blackburn. So we had a lot of pitching. All right, so now hopefully Blackburn can turn into something for us, and we have Sean coming back. Hopefully Sean can come back strong like he did last year. Right. So then we have that. We have that to cover McGill and we have that to cover Koda, right? So
Yeah,
that works, right? And then hopefully Mr. Stearns can get something for us in the off,
trade
before the
deadline.
trade. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. So I don't know because he has to get something for center field. We have to solidify center field, right? This has to happen now, okay? And I don't know the way you guys are playing. You shouldn't get rid of Mullins now because I think you have a shot to make the wild card. You know what I'm saying? So you shouldn't get rid of him because he's gonna help you. I
I
know it's like
disagree.
no, no. Listen, you know what happened? Remember when the Angels? And I couldn't understand. The Angels had Otani right all the way to the last minute instead of
And
getting
they
rid.
never traded him. Yeah.
Exactly, and got some prospects for him. You know what I'm saying? Especially for a team that was going somewhere, they did that shit. They kept them, and they.
Well, reason why I'm comfortable letting him go because you have a couple prospect outfitters in the Dylan Beavers, Honeycutt, or Honeycomb. I think his name is Honeycutt, Vance Honeycutt, and then you have a guy named Enrique Bradfield. He's in Double A, but he reminds me of Mullins. He's fast. His bat is not as good as Mullins, but his defense is. He's gonna be a good defender, but he's just not quite ready for the majors. So that's why if you're gonna get rid of people you know you're not gonna resign. Like they're not gonna resign O'Hearn, you're not gonna resign Mountcastle, you're not gonna resign Mullins. There's some other guys that they're not gonna resign.
I mean, why not? Why not? Listen, why not? You
Why
just
not? Because
Mullins. Mullins is. I
well,
don't think he's getting
Mullins
old.
is
I know.
31 years old.
I know.
That's
I
the only
know.
issue. Age is
I'm
against him.
no, but listen, if he takes a 2 year, you're gonna say no to that.
Do like Alonso, get a 2 year, 1 year option. First year, one opt out after 1 year. You
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
Why
could do
not?
that.
Yeah, why not? He's not
And
gonna take it though,
then
because if somebody offers him a 5 year, he's gonna take that with the quickness. He
no,
doesn't
no, no,
care
no,
who he plays for.
because yeah, because see the problem for the Mets, uh, as far as competing wise for him, Philadelphia isn't concerned because they need an outfielder too, and I've always heard rumors, but they want Mullins to upgrade their center field. So it's like, all right, so you gotta figure out which team's gonna give you the better deal as far as
Exactly.
what balls are gonna get in
No, but
return.
this is gonna
I know
happen.
Baltimore wants pitching prospects.
Listen, Philly and the Mets are gonna be fighting all the way through the winter as well. Okay, because when Alonso opts out of that 1 year, after 1 year, which is this season right here, and Schwarber hits free agency, both teams are going to be fighting. I believe the Mets will go after Schwarber because if I'm the Mets, I'm definitely going after Schwarber because we don't have a true DH, and that could solve that problem right away. I would take him in a heartbeat, and I would
And then
send
Alonso
Alonso
be a
away.
first baseman.
Exactly, and then
Oh, you mean to let Alonso go?
no, I wouldn't let Alonso go. You crazy? Because if you let Alonso
Oh,
go,
you have
then you
you
have
have
to
to keep
play
him as first
Schwarber at
baseman.
first. Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, if you're gonna, well, yeah, because you gotta figure out how much money are you gonna tie to two guys, and
Doesn't
you're gonna
matter if
look
not.
at
If you're trying
you're
to beat
looking
the
at like
Dodgers, you're gonna
3 year
play.
deals, nothing big, but you're gonna give up a lot of money.
Oh
So you're
man,
gonna look at
a
three to
lot.
4 year deals for these two guys each, and then they're probably gonna be one at least north of 20 million. In my opinion, I don't know, maybe
Man,
not.
I think more.
I don't know. Alonzo at least 30. He's been more productive than Schwarber.
No, well, that's not true.
No.
They, they're both being they're both hitting. Alonso's on a slump right now, but we're not gonna
Yeah,
talk
he got
about
he
that
got cool. He cooled down a little.
a lot. So I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't think we have it now. It's like we'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't stick around for too long. Just bad luck that we have right now. Atlanta's a tough out for us, man. For some reason, Atlanta always has that number. Listen, last year out of the 13 games, Atlanta won 7 of those games. And it's crazy because they went to that doubleheader last year for the last game of the season, and we both
I
we
said 7 out of
and we split
6.
it. Yeah, we split that. So it's crazy. But we'll
Ye-
see what happens. Your man Chris Sale, he went
I know.
down with that stupid play trying to get Soto out. That shit made me
Oh, when he went to
angry.
run at the base, yeah,
Yeah, no,
he
he
lost
jumped.
it.
Yeah, yeah, no, he dove for it. He should have let that ball roll. Now he's out,
Oh
bro.
yeah, I know.
This guy was trade bait. Now that the Atlanta's playing like this and they're destroying the Mets, it's crazy. But
Well,
good luck
now
to
he's
him.
not gonna be able to
Now he's
trade
now
him
he's
because
yeah,
he's their best
exactly.
ace. He's having a great year. He's their best ace.
Yeah. So we're talk about the hitter and the pitcher of the week.
Yeah, so the hitter of the week, I have two guys. Uh, the first guy is from the Athletics. I have it right here. His name is Jacob Lopez. Pitcher of the week, the gunslinger of the week is Jacob Lopez of the Las Vegas A's. Sacramento A's, sorry. They're going to Vegas anyway. I'm confused. Anyway, on June 14th versus Kansas City, he pitched 6 innings, allowed 3 hits, and gave up no runs on 9 strikeouts. So he could be. They have a nice little rotation going. Their starting rotation is not that bad, believe it or not. They got Sears, they got Lopez, so they might have something going. They could just get some extra offensive bats. They could be a good team in the next couple of years. And then for hit of the week is on the Colorado Rockies. Uh, Michael Toglia, I think his first name is Michael. Anyway, he went 3 for 5 in a win on June 17th versus
Yeah.
Uh, the Washington Nationals in a 10-6 Colorado win. He went 3 for 5, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs. But Colorado has been a tough team lately. They've been playing pretty well, believe it or not. As you know, they're 1,000 games under 500, but they've snuck in. They won again today against Arizona, so they're not a guaranteed easy out. One thing, and look at Pittsburgh. They freaking scored 8 runs against Texas today. There's some teams you can look like, okay, like the White Sox. They're not gonna win. If you're betting, you can bet. Okay, we'll bet whoever's playing White Sox. You can bet Colorado's not gonna win. You can bet Pittsburgh. Nah, not so fast. Be careful what you do. You lose money.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen in baseball. It's kind of crazy
Yeah,
like that. But you know,
that's the nice thing about baseball. 1 minute you're hot. Next minute you're shit as shit, and the next minute you're back to being hot. So
exactly.
there's ebbs and flows. Right now, the Orioles are, I guess, on the incline. I don't know. I guess you could say the Mets are not really on a decline. They're just like, they're like a car that's stuck in the snow. They just can't get out. They're not in a
Yeah.
decline. They're just stuck, and they need someone to pull them out. So maybe the guys they get back.
So we're coming to the end of the show, guys, and I don't know what's gonna happen this week, man. But we're gonna see. All right, you guys have a good night, and we'll see you on the next one.